in Carmody. I'm here with my buddy Judd. I've known Judd for 20 years here. Real good friend of mine, and he's your local life coach now. So, and the whole purpose of this video right now is I wanted to interview him a little bit. He's kind of new to this. He's helped me a ton. Helped my girlfriend, helped some different people out. He's currently already doing it, doing really well. But the idea here is just for me to ask him some questions so you can get to know him, see if he fits for you. But we'll just start. Judd, tell me a little bit. Obviously, you've been doing this a little while, right, on your own.
Yeah.
Now you're starting your business now. So tell me a little bit of why you're doing this. What intrigues you about helping people like this? Obviously, tell us a little bit about your background, too.
Yeah, so I've been through a lot in my life, and now I'm in the position to actually help people. And, you know, it's through my life experience where I have inside perspective on things. And it's just, you know, I'm following my path. I had to grow a lot to get to where I am.
Yeah.
And, you know, former drug addict, alcoholic, cheater, liar, you know, and then I had to go through all that stuff and more. And that's not even all, I'm not even telling the whole story yet.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Just ready to help.
Just ready to help.
So you've got
That's
got a background and stuff, which is cool. So that's, and I'll give a little back of why you were able to help me, right? So I've been through addiction, drugs, alcohol, different stuff, just like you said, right? So it takes, and especially for men, right? It's a little difficult for us to open up maybe how we're raised, but it's definitely necessary to grow into a man. Even as women, I mean, it's hard for us to admit our faults and stuff. Sometimes it takes somebody who's been through it to get through, for lack of better word, all the shit, right? So, how did you just explain to the camera and to the audience a little bit how you went from doing all of that stuff to like where you're at now? How'd you do it?
So it's about making solid decisions for yourself, knowing what's right and wrong. Actually, you know what's right and wrong through intuition and everything. Everybody has it. It's just whether you choose to do the right thing or not.
Big time.
And you know, so many of us just choose to do the wrong thing because it's for ourselves.
Yeah.
And the reason everybody's here on earth is to help each other.
Yeah.
You know, and not treat each other like garbage.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
So, but what I had to go through to get to where I am right now, the biggest thing where I had to do was self-reflection. And so I went through a divorce, and that was the catalyst for me being who I am right now, because you know, I had a lot of changing to do and growing, and I was selfish, very selfish throughout that not entire relationship, but as it moved along and we grew apart, then it was just, you know, good for neither of us.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of strength and, you know, determination to get through it, and I did. You know.
I can imagine, man.
And
Sure.
it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I would not be the man I am right now in the position that I'm in to help people if I didn't go through that. I would still be the same old selfish person that I was.
For sure. So, like, what would you say? Obviously, somebody's watching this right now, and they're just like, it's time to give up. I tried A, B, C, D, E, F, G, counseling, spent all this money, medication, all that stuff. Kind of like where I was at, you know? Obviously, for me, it was just I got tired of my own BS, right? Yeah. So it's like time to move on. There's a different purpose. Obviously, you helped me a lot with that, but I mean, people watch. That's a lot easier said than done, right? I've kind of moved past that. You've moved past that a little bit. A lot of people watching maybe are like, I am not at that point right now. So how did you get from that point, from where you're probably in that, from when I talked to you, in that situation to, hey, I'm tired of this shit. Let's move on, kind of thing. So how'd you do that?
Right. So I did it through spirituality. So throughout my entire life, I've had certain gifts, and that everybody, you have to be open to spirituality to get well, because if you rely on yourself to do the things that you need to do, the likelihood that you're going to get through it is not high at all. You have to rely on something you can't even see.
Yeah. Which is crazy, right?
Right. Higher power. Yeah. And so my coaching is based in spirituality, and it's just, you know, it's not something that I even question or anything. The higher power, I have angels, ancestors, and guides. I can connect to them very well. and easily, and Dan, you can attest to that.
100%. Yeah.
Where, I given readings, I do deep meditations where I've gone places that I never thought I could go, and I really had to open myself up to that, and I have other abilities as well, premonition, dreams, stuff like that. It's your guides if you're open to it, and they show you things, but then you kind of start to doubt yourself because how is this even possible? How are they showing me this and that? But you gotta be just open-minded to it, and because your mind is very powerful, you can shut anything off or you can turn anything on with it and just do it. But the key to it all is just concrete belief in it. In anything that you do, you have to believe in what you're doing, and the purpose behind it. There's a huge purpose behind me doing this, and it's to help people. That's why they guided me and put me through all that stuff that I went through in the past, so that I can help people, and I know for 100% fact that I can help anyone who's willing to take the help.
Yeah, and I'll attest to that too. Like, I am not someone easy to help, right? So, and probably a lot of you can attest to that. It's like you think you can do it. It's ego. All those sort of things. And what he was able to help me with all this stuff was like, just let it go, man. It's not about you. Obviously, my way of doing things was not working. Some things I do good. A lot of things I did really bad. So it's like, dude, you're not good at everything. One of those being getting out of my own way, right? So he was able to help me. I've never had anyone help me like that before, to be frank. So that's why I'm doing this. I want him to be out in the community helping as many people as possible. It's a gift a lot of people don't have. But I mean, what would you say? Give me a testimonial, like one of your clients you've done. Tell me something cool about, I don't know. We obviously don't use names, but
right.
Recent client you had. Tell me a little bit about something cool about that.
So I've had a few recent clients that I've helped out greatly. There was one younger gentleman who, when I was around him, and in the workplace and that, we didn't have a real like friendship outside of work, but I could just tell and see in him that he was struggling with just, he's very anxious all the time. And it hindered his job to the point where he wasn't doing a good job at work. And of course, I'm going to try to jump in and help the kid. Because, yeah. I mean, I don't want to see anybody fail. So what I did was we came up with a plan for him to just calm himself down. And in the past, he was on prescription medications for his, anxiety and all that stuff. And I'm here to tell you, 90% plus of people don't actually need it. It's just your mental state that you're in. It's about believing in yourself and getting through the stuff, because the reason that all these people are on those drugs is because of their past and what they went through. Stuff that was completely out of their control for the most part, probably. The way they grew up, all kinds of reasons. But it's something that's overprescribed, and really all we need to do is talk. And I want to get rid of that stigma of, the being so masculine and not needing help, and that it's just ridiculous. So anyways, I helped him in the way of setting up a plan, literally getting a planner, and day by day, because he was all over the place with everything. Yeah. It's not that he was a disorganized individual. Actually, he was very organized overall. It's just he couldn't get out of his own head. Mm-hmm. And it was building his confidence up, actually, because talking to him, finding out his background and everything, and the way that he was raised was to be pretty reliant on others to do things. Yeah. And to live a good life, you have to love yourself. And to love anybody else, truly, you have to love yourself. And he just didn't. And he didn't know that about himself or anything, but through our talks and everything, that's what was found. And it was just amazing the turnaround that the kid had in 6 weeks or so. Just, it's not a one-time thing, but my goodness, I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like seeing the positive
results. See it on your face, man. Yeah. Clearly. So no, it's then And to touch a little bit on what you said about the masculine thing, it's like you and I have talked about this. Like, we're having this conversation now. It's like connection between men. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what helps men break down that stigma. Clearly, you help women and men. That's not the point. But I think a lot of it in between our conversation, what helps me is like the way we're raised. It's like keep it all in. That's not a real man. A real man is treat your wife well, your kids well, be vulnerable, cry, do stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just swinging a hammer and just screaming. Right? It doesn't work. I tried it. You've tried it. It's like, I'm miserable. Got to get out of this shit. So it's like, should be able to talk, and that's what you're really good at is getting it out of. So I guess tell people where they can find you. I know you're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right? So jfink.
JUDDFINK on Facebook.
It's not one name. It's Judd then Fink.
And then I also, it's in process. It's spiritualpathcoaching.com is my website. Building the Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok currently. I got to get out there and help as many people as I can, and that's how you can contact me. Actually, my phone number is 309-431-1706 as well. My business phone number, if you want to give me a text directly as well. I have no problem with that.
That's cool. Yeah, no. So yeah, hit him up. He's just starting out, but he's already helping people. So we'll do more of these videos. Get it out there. But yeah, if you have questions or anything, you can hit me up too. Daniel Carmody, him, jfink, Facebook. But we'll go from there. We'll see you soon.